All right, guys, I'm here. I'm here. I was tempted not to come on and do this podcast, which would have been fitting because the Warriors decided not to rock up the Chase Center on Monday night. That is, and I don't say this lightly, that is easily the worst loss of the season from the Golden State Warriors perspective. That is awful. That is disgusting. That is inexplicable to lose 114-105 to the Denver Nuggets like that. Horrific performance. The Warriors have had, they've now had 29 losses this season. They've had a lot of bad losses. They've had losses from up by 15, 20 points. Fine, whatever. That was when this team was just really not that good, like a bum average team. This team went into the game having won 14 of their last 16, come with a Denver Nuggets team who's without Nikola Jokic, the best player in the world, without their second best player, Jamal Murray, without another key starter in Christian Braun. You have a legitimate opportunity to get really close to the Nuggets with a win in this game. You have got a full squad minus Brandon Pajemski. You see the Minnesota Timberwolves lose a game on a crazy near buzzer-beating shot, basically, from Obi Toppin in Minnesota. You've got an opportunity to separate yourself from the 7th seed there. And basically, because they've got the season tiebreak over the Timberwolves, they could have basically gone 3 games ahead of Minnesota. And you dish up that crap. Awful. Like, they just did not show up with any intensity. And it doesn't matter how much Steve told them before the game, hey, be wary of these guys. These guys are going to come out, play hard. These guys are going to be looking to retain minutes in the rotation moving forward. These guys are going to come out with basically, nothing to lose because they're expected without, obviously, their 2 best players are expected to not only lose this game, but the Warriors should have been winning that by 15, 20 plus, right? And yet Denver simply come out and want it more. That is what it came down to. They wanted it more, and the Warriors were not locked in whatsoever, right? And this team, since the trade, this kind of performance is inexplicable. Again, before the trade, this was a pretty bum average team. Maybe you could expect it, right? But the kind of momentum, the kind of confidence they've built over the past month or so here, you could not envisage a loss like that happening. And to me, it really takes away from a lot of the good stuff the Warriors have done. Now, I suppose the one fortunate thing is the fact that, Minnesota lost, and so you actually retain hold of the 6th seed for the moment. But now you got to play the Bucks on the second night of a back-to-back, and that feels like not a must-win game, but a high-priority game, and you're probably going to rest Steph. You're probably going to lose that game. You're probably going to lose to Milwaukee tomorrow, okay? And so all of a sudden, the Clippers are probably going to draw near here. You could be looking at the 8th seed again pretty shortly, based simply off one night where you failed to you just had to rock up slightly. You probably just had to rock up in the first half, build a 15, 20-point lead, and you know what? The Nuggets would have gone home. They would have said, enough's enough, back to our hotel room. Okay, we're not going to, we don't have our best player. We don't have our second best player. We don't have another third, starter in Christian Braun. We're just going to roll out and go through the motions in the second half. And the Warriors probably could have rested some guys. Instead, they have to play heavy minutes, right? And they still lose by 9. Steph Curry plays over 35, nearly 36 minutes. Jimmy Butler plays over 33 minutes. Jonathan Kuminga ramps up his minutes because they just have to. Plays over nearly 28 minutes off the bench. I thought this team was over the kind of free throw shooting woes and turnover woes that we saw earlier in the season that haunted Golden State through basically the first 50 games. Some of the stuff, some of the turnovers, and you know what? It's the best players. Steph. I'm going to put part of the blame on the coaching staff, on the doctors and the management for not resting you in this game. You were questionable with back soreness. Once Jokic and Murray were out, you should have just rested, right? You should have this should have been your opportunity to rest. I know it's easy to say in hindsight, but you should have actually taken this opportunity to rest. The Warriors could have still won this game without Steph. The Golden State Warriors in this game, we love Steph Curry. He's the best player in franchise history, but they would have been better with Steph Curry on the sidelines in this game. That's how much I think of a negative Steph was in this game. He got 20 points. He took 21 shots to do so. He was 4 of 14 from three-point range. The Warriors were 8 of 33 as a team. They were 6 of 30 for every player not named Gary Payton II, who was 2 of 3, he was about the lone positive in this game. Steph had 7 turnovers. Some of the turnovers, what are you doing? Some of Draymond trying to get these touchdown passes in critical moments. Like, stop. Stop. Protect the ball a little bit better. 20 turnovers. I know Denver had their fair share, but you'd understand that. You'd understand the Nuggets having their level than what they ever do, because normally the ball's in Jokic or Murray's hands. You can understand that. What were the Warriors doing with the ball? Like, what's this Steph trying this alley-oop to Kuminga fancy stuff when the game's on the line in the fourth quarter? Kuminga's not expecting it. The ball goes out of bounds. It's Denver ball when you're trying to make a run. Like, what is going on? Okay, the Warriors would have been better in that game without Steph Curry. They flat out would have been, he should have rested this game again. Easy to say in hindsight, I know. I don't even know who played. Like, Jimmy, okay, Jimmy evidently thought wearing deep crap here in the second half and tried harder. He did. He tried legitimately harder from a scoring perspective. You could see it. You could see him try to get to the rim a little bit more, right? He took 4 threes in this game, started looking and hunting for his own shot a little bit more. Had a team high 23 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, couple of steals. Did a little bit, ultimately still wasn't good enough at the end of the day. Draymond tried to get some defensive stuff going. The Warriors tried to amp up their defensive pressure in the fourth quarter. It was too late, right? Kuminga just encapsulated his entire career, you would say. Basically, a lot of good stuff from JK, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, but then also some other stuff, particularly defensively, where you're thinking, what the hell are you doing, man? What are you doing? So a lot of bad stuff with a lot of good stuff. Warriors can't have that. They need more consistency. I don't know who played well. Moses didn't have a great game. 4 of 9, 1 of 4. Quitting post. Don't know if the ankle's a bit of a concern. Didn't play at all. But played 8 minutes 26 in the first half. Wasn't seen in the second half. Steve, not sure what you're doing there. Not sure if you could have gone back to QP because you went to Loon instead. Loon played just over 15 minutes. Kevon Looney, you've got one job. I tweeted this out. You are there to rebound the ball. That is what you are best at. That is what you are there on the team to do. That is why you are out on the floor, is to rebound the ball. You do that basically better than almost every other center in the NBA. That is your job. Why you're out on the floor in that fourth quarter is the Warriors are attempting a comeback. You give up 2 offensive rebounds and 2 putback layups. What are you doing? You have one job, to rebound the ball, and you allow 2 offensive rebounds to a pretty small Denver team compared to what they normally are, obviously, when they've got Jokic. I don't know. Guy Santos, not great. GP2, the only good one. Buddy Hield, 1 of 4, missed his 3 threes. Warriors making a run there in the third quarter at the end there. They get to within 9. Buddy Hield has a wide open, top of the key 3. Wide open, clanks it, goes down the other end. Was it Najee or Conchar or whatever? Made a BS leaning 3 that all of a sudden it should have been a 6-point game. Buddy Hield should have made that 3. It should have been a 6-point game entering the fourth. Instead, Denver are up 12. How many times do the Warriors have momentum, look like they're going to make a run? Buddy Hield has a chance to punctuate that run with a big 3, and he clanks it, and they're almost always wide open. Cannot count on that bloke in the biggest moments. You can't. What are we going to do come playoff time? Don't know. Anyway, free throw shooting. That is the thing that really cost the Warriors. They were 6 of 16 at one point, 15 of 27 overall, 55.6%. Kuminga goes 0 of 2 early. Looney has a stint where he goes 0 of 2. Jimmy, early fourth quarter, was at the first possession of the fourth quarter, 0 of 2. Hustles to get the offensive rebound. Great. I don't care. Make 2 free throws. Stop making it harder on yourself. Wow. Anyway, I'm going to get into your comments because that was a woeful performance. Priscilla says sloppy. Denver wanted it more. Couldn't agree more with that. Robbie says Warriors got sloppy since they couldn't shoot. Dan X says, what a terrible game. GP2 and Butler, our only good players. 20 turnovers at home. Steph with 7. Yeah, GP2 was good. 18 points, 3 rebounds, and assists, 3 steals. 8 of 10 shooting, 2 of 3 from distance. He was good. Everyone else, pretty awful. Pretty awful. Jimmy had his moments. Dre had his moments, had 5 blocks, 3 steals, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Kuminga had his moments, but it just wasn't consistent enough. right? The Warriors just were never able to put in that huge, we were waiting for it. We were waiting for like this, 20-2 run, 18-4 run, right? Where they would just erase the lead, get back in front. And then if you got back in front, you kind of thought, okay, we'll run away with it. Never happened. The Warriors got within 3 in the fourth quarter. And that was that. That was as close as they got. And every time they attempted a run, they did something silly or Denver made a play to basically answer it. Credit to them. I mean, I'm hating on the Warriors, and fair enough. You should not be losing to this Denver team, right? Without Jokic, without Murray, without Christian Braun. But credit to Denver. Aaron Gordon outplayed every single guy on the floor. Best player on the floor, Aaron Gordon, 38 points, 7 rebounds. Michael Porter Jr. got going early, got him a lead, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Russell Westbrook, 12 points, 12 rebounds, 16 assists. I thought the way the Warriors guarded Westbrook was awful. Awful. Like, how many times just simple pick and rolls, Westbrook to Gordon, right? Go under some of these screens on Westbrook. Make him shoot. He was 2 of 9 from distance. Sure, he made a couple of big ones. Who cares? 2 of 9. Should have let him fire away more. He was 5 of 18 from the floor in general. I just thought the fact that you got a guy who's that inefficient shooting the ball and you allow him to get 16 assists, make him more of a scorer. He can't do that anymore. He cannot do that anymore. And yet the Warriors played him as if he was still, he's still a good scorer. He's not, right? Not in this game anyway. And yet he's still able to get out 16 assists. I don't get it. Not sure what was going on there. MVX Hunter says, worst Steph game of the year. I haven't seen Steph play that badly in a long time. In saying that, Steve came out post-game press conference, said he's very tired. Probably sounds like he's going to rest tomorrow. Should have rested this game. Should have rested. Again, easy to say in hindsight. I know. Should have rested this game. Robbie says, we need to have more plays where JK gets a cut to the rim. He needs to score when Steph doesn't have it. Yeah, not enough of those in this game. Way too much, Kuminga going ISO. That was really the only way JK was getting his offense. It was a stark contrast to what we saw on, was it Saturday, back to Thursday in his return game against the Kings, where he got 18 points and he barely put the ball on the floor. Like, he was just literally, hunting the odd mismatch. But other than that, like getting out in transition, cutting to the rim, all this stuff, baseline cuts, everything. Like, it was so easy for him. And, he still did some okay stuff in this game. Again, 13 points off the bench, but some of it was really difficult. It just felt difficult. Yeah, it was just a struggle all night long, it must be said. Knox says, this was a disaster of a game. This game would have been huge to separate us a little bit from the Wolves. Yeah. Almost hurts more the fact that Minnesota lost. I know it helps because the Warriors are still 6th, but almost hurts more the fact they could have put a gap in the standings here. And it could have meant that they, could afford to lose tomorrow's game against Milwaukee. Now, all of a sudden, that becomes an important game again. It was important anyway, but yeah, it's super disappointing. MVX Hunter says there was no urgency in that game from Steph. If he felt hurt or just tired, he should have just rested this game. Some of those turnovers and missed shots are real momentum killers. Agree with that. Those loony minutes be looking real grim sometimes, especially on the defensive end tonight. Pretty much allowed Gordon to get anything he wanted. It was a bucket or a foul every time on him. The issue I have is way too many Kuminga loony minutes together. Not sure why they didn't go back to post. I'm sorry, but I think his sheer threat as a I know he was giving stuff up early defensively. I get it. Okay. I understand his minutes in the first half weren't great. But way too many times, like when you've got Looney, Kuminga, and GP2 on the floor. I know GP2 has been shooting the ball a bit better of late, but teams still aren't guarding him out in the perimeter. The Warriors need more shooting threats, right? And to me, there's too many Kuminga Looney minutes together. Got to be Kuminga and post. Or Kuminga, we've obviously seen a lot of Kuminga and Draymond. That's going to happen a lot. But I don't really want to see Kuminga and Looney together, if I'm being honest. I want to see Kuminga and post together. Maybe that's too much inexperience, too much defensive lapses for Steve to be able to handle. Okay, whatever. But at some point, you got to try and go to like your highest upside unit. And that's why I think post is important because of his size and shooting ability. He gives you the higher upside than what Looney does. Looney's reliable, yeah, sure, usually. But he's still a very, very limited NBA player, incredibly limited on the offensive end. Just makes things a lot harder offensively. And if he's not going to rebound the ball again, like he gave up two key offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter, he's there battling, can't grab the ball. Put back layups, thanks for coming. Don't know what he's doing out there. Knox says Denver was the more winnable game of the two. Bucks most likely going to be a loss as well. More winnable game. I had this in the book. When I heard Jokic and Murray and Brown are out, I'm like, all right, cool, let's move on to Milwaukee. And that's basically what the Warriors did too. That's what the team did. They saw those guys were out, thought we're just going to roll up casually, win this game easily by 15, 20 points. That's what it should have been. But these are still NBA level players. Aaron Gordon is still a very good player. Michael Porter Jr. is still a very talented, good player. Russell Westbrook is a former MVP. Give him a high usage. I still think Westbrook can be a floor-raising player for you. I don't like him as a ceiling-raising player, but I think as a floor raiser, if you just have these nights where Jokic is out and you say, all right, you're going to handle the offense, I still think like that's a lot better. Like the minutes from, was it Jalen Pickett? Jalen Pickett was awful in his 11 minutes, I thought. 1 of 6, 1 of 4, 3 points, -6. The Nuggets bench wasn't great whatsoever, but the starters, still NBA level players. Mike Malone runs Westbrook out there for 42 minutes. Michael Porter Jr. plays 41. Gordon, 37. Peyton Watson, 35 and a half. Dear, oh dear. MVX Hunter says, losing tomorrow would really be the coffin to the season, in my opinion, because with the Wolves schedule, there's no way they would touch 6 again and having to go against the Thunder or another young team. Well, I suppose they could just stick to 7th and hope maybe Houston finish 2nd. Houston won today, BS game over Philadelphia. That was a weird one. So hopefully, I suppose your best option is Houston finish 2nd and you finish 7th. I suppose the biggest thing you don't want to do is fall to 8th. And if they lose tomorrow, all of a sudden can the Clippers pass them tomorrow maybe? If the Warriors lose, do the Clippers play tomorrow? Yeah, the Clippers play the Cavs. You'd think at home. You'd think hopefully Cleveland will win that game. Who knows? But if the Warriors lose to the Bucks and the Clippers lose to the Cavs, then if I just check the standings, I'm pretty sure the Warriors might fall to 8th. Legitimately. They're 39 and 29. Minnesota are 40 and 30. The Clippers, so if the Clippers can go to 38, sorry, they'd be equal. The Clippers could go to 39 and 30, and the Warriors could be 39 and 30, with a loss for the Warriors and a win for the Clippers tomorrow. Steve MC, this team is going nowhere. They need it big and they need to get bigger. Quentin Post says hello. Didn't want to run him out there at all in second half. Then next says, we're literally pretenders. I was so high on Golden State. Now I don't think we have enough. Okay, let me just chill for a bit. Okay, I'm mad. I'm super mad at this performance, right? I'm pissed. Think it was an absolutely awful, disgusting performance, okay? Do I still think this team can be good? Yes. Okay, so I'm not saying I'm all out. I'm not saying that like, oh, they've lost this game and now they're pretenders and now they've got no chance. No, I'm not going to do that off one game when we've seen 14 of the last 16 games be really, really good. So I'm not out on this team at all. Don't think that I'm just really mad and pissed and that the Warriors have no hope for the rest of the season. I'm mad and pissed at this specific individual game. Yes, okay, think it's awful, but I still think they can be a pretty good and dangerous team heading into the playoffs, right? And this just means that they have to make this up somewhere. If they win tomorrow, I can forgive it. Honestly, I can. If they come out and win tomorrow, and they'll probably have to do it without Steph. If they come out and win, hopefully Pods is back. That was the target date for him. If they come out and win tomorrow, great, fine. I can deal with it. 1-1 on this back-to-back, that's fine. So we'll wait and see. I'll give them tomorrow. But if they lose tomorrow, then they're in some trouble because as someone said before, was it NDX Hunter or whatever, like the Timberwolves have a relatively easy schedule. And if the Warriors fall back into the play-in tournament mix, I'm not sure if they're going to get out and get back up to 6th. Empire says we have to win tomorrow. Robbie says, I swear if Steph can't shoot, the rest of the team can't either. Robert says, I'm sad. Thanex says the Jazz, Dallas, Philly, now this. Yeah, some awful losses. Really bad losses. This one takes the cake, though, to me. This one honestly takes the cake because of who Denver had out, and because you just think that this version of the Warriors that we're now seeing shouldn't be capable of horrific performances like this, and yet here we are. Faneca says, Kerr said he's thinking about resting Steph tomorrow. Yep, heard that on the post game. Berserk Monk says, worst loss by far. 7 turnovers for Curry. Jesus, says Yorkmoth. Yeah, some of the turnovers, man, they weren't even like good turnovers. They were just like, I don't even know if there's such thing as good turnovers, but there's turnovers and then there's turnovers, and some of the ones from Steph were just like the thing that really gets me is, and I know sometimes they come off, but these like hit ahead passes where you're trying to throw the ball 30 feet, 30, 40 feet kind of thing to get to the guy on the other end, like they are just laced with danger. And it felt like in this game, like you'd get a rebound, then you just give them the ball straight back with some of those passes. Berserk Monk says, definitely should have rested Curry. At least the loss would have been excusable. True. Sydney, I think they should have, if Steph was out of this game, right, if the Warriors were without Steph and the Nuggets were without Jokic and Murray, I still would have expected the Warriors to win. Sydney says, this was the game where you let JK, Jimmy, and Moody cook. Robbie said that play where Steph threw a lob to JK was terrible. JK didn't even signal for it. He threw it like halfway up to the rim as well. Like, I don't even know what kind. In fairness, JK still should have caught it. He still should have caught it. He just fumbled it out of bounds. But I think he fumbled it because he just didn't expect it. Like, he was just running, and then Steph's like, oh, let me try this one-handed, underhand. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, I might try that tonight, right, at Social League Basketball, Div 2, Reserve League, Social League Basketball on a Tuesday night. Not in the NBA when there's 5 minutes left and you're actually in the ball game attempting a comeback. Like, what are you doing? Thanex says we couldn't even get a rebound. Empire says if we play the Nuggets in the playoffs, we're going to need TJD. Man, there's something about the Nuggets. They've now won 9 straight against the Warriors since the 2022 playoffs. Can't beat them even when their best players are out. Sydney says JK has to make his free throws whether we're winning or not. Absolute facts that. Robert says just rest Curry if he needs one. Medical staff should have done their job. Then next says Poole literally cooked Denver. Might have been nice to have JP tonight. Yorgmoth says Buddy as usual went cold. You just can't trust him in like, I'm sorry to say, I know a lot of role players are like this, but to me, Buddy Hield is a real downhill skier. He's a real downhill skier to me. At very few points does it feel like he makes big plays as he make big shots in critical moments. Now, he did that. Did he do that? I think he might have done that the other day against the Knicks, in fairness. So, one game ago, didn't he have that? Was it the third quarter where it was kind of really important? I'm just checking this. Warriors v Knicks. Feels like... I'm just checking this. What do you do? What do you do in the third quarter of that game? No, that's not that game. Or am I thinking of another game? I don't know. So many games recently, they just all roll into one for me. No, wasn't Saturday's game. Was it like, I don't know, last Tuesday or something? I don't know. Just feels to me like Buddy Hield never has big plays, big shots when the Warriors need it. Feels like he's a downhill skier when the Warriors, even the start of the season, he was huge for the Warriors. And he was a factor in the fact they were beating teams so easily, but they were beating teams so easily, right? Just feels like when the Warriors really need him, he's not there. Don't want to hate on him, though, because, he's a role player, right? He's second, third, fourth guy off the bench. It was really like the key guys that cost the Warriors in this game. Robbie says this game, it really just came down to effort. Really not much else to say. Empire says we're going to need TJD to guard Gordon. I think Draymond needs to take responsibility of that. I suppose you might be asking Draymond to guard Jokic. I don't know. I've got a real, like, they've got a real problem. If they're going to play Quentin Post for 8 minutes in this game, after not starting him, obviously, against Cat the other night. If that's going to be the case, then what are they doing in the play? Are they just going all small ball, hoping that, is enough for them? I don't know. It's going to depend on matchups, obviously. Nikki B says, horrible coaching from Kerr. At what point do you take the ball out of Gordon's hands and let everyone else beat you? Yeah, the Westbrook stuff really got me. Like, how you're allowing Westbrook to get 16 assists and not asking him to be more of a scorer. I know he hit a couple of big threes in the second half. I don't care. He was 5 of 18 from the floor, 2 of 9. Make that guy a scorer. Stop making it so easy for him and Gordon to run a pick and roll, and then he, has that little pocket pass to Gordon inside. Like, just those two guys can't, Gordon can shoot. He's been shooting 45% from 3, but Westbrook literally just cannot shoot. Okay, he's not much of a scorer. Just ask him to do that. Don't play to his strength, which, he can still be an excellent passer, an excellent playmaker. Robbie says the crowd at Chase Center were trying to give them spirit, but they had nothing. Sydney, same outcome as the understaffed Mavs. Buddy runs hard, but we need to give all his minutes up to Pods and the gang. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens once the Warriors have a full rotation available, which could be the case, maybe not tomorrow, but in the final game of the homestand, which I think is against the Raptors, which should be a dub, you'd imagine. That will come on Thursday. Toronto Raptors. So you know what? If they win tomorrow and they end the homestand 6-1, great, fantastic. But now it kind of puts pressure on tomorrow's game. Robbie says Jimmy, JK, and Moody all need to play good to win tomorrow. Do you limit the resting to Steph, or do you have to give Jimmy? Actually, I'd play Jimmy. That man didn't play for like 6 weeks while he just left Miami, so no excuses. Jimmy should play tomorrow. Steve says these overpaid bums overlook their opponents. That's facts. Then Nick says we do this all the time. We always lose to teams missing their star players. 0-9 against the Nuggets. Then Nick says it was 94-97. They then went on a 6-0 run because of the turnovers. We literally sabotaged ourselves. Always the case with the Warriors. 20 turnovers in this game and, 15 to 27 from the free throw line. That's the difference, right? That is the difference. And credit to Denver. They played well, but as well as they played, like the Warriors just still should have won. George says Westbrook busted your ass, so now you're salty. Yeah, he did. He did. He had an excellent triple-double, 12, 12, and 16. I'm not, would I say I'm salty about it? I'm pissed about it, yeah, but I just thought the way they defended him was awful. I just think the way they defended Denver in general was pretty bad. And it doesn't help when you turn the ball over like they did. Robbie says Pat Spencer would have done better than Steph tonight. I do wonder if the plan was that Pods will be back for the Bucks matchup. So let's just allow Steph to play through to that. And then at least if Steph rests against the Bucks, Pods is back. Maybe that was their plan overall. I don't know. Because otherwise, if you've got Steph and Pods out at the same time, then suddenly Pat Spencer's literally your primary point guard. And I'm not sure you want that. Empire says TJD is our only athletic big and he's probably our best shot blocking center. He has to take some of Postal Looney's minutes. The issue for me is is it too late to bring him back into the fold? There's 15 games left in the season now. 14 games left. They're 39 and 29. Yeah, crap. 14 games. There's 14 games left in the season. He hasn't played forever. When was the last? Was it late January that he played 15 minutes in a game? The last time he played more than 15 minutes in a game was January 22 against the Sacramento Kings, which was the 43rd game of the season. So we've basically gone nearly 25 games here. We've gone over a quarter of the season where Trace Jackson-Davis hasn't been involved at all. Really, just has not been involved at all. He's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in 8 games since January 28, And the most minutes he played in any of those games was 8 minutes and 39 seconds. Other games he's played in 4 minutes 40, 3 minutes 53, 1 minute 11, 2 minutes 57, 152, 209, 322. Just all garbage time minutes. I'm just worried if it's too late. You just kind of shelved him for the season. I'd be surprised if Steve goes back to him. Thendek says, if we finish 6th and win the first round, who do we get in the second round? The winner of 2-7. Yeah, because 1 plays 4, 2 plays 3. So if you're the 6th seed and take out the 3rd seed, you play the winner of 2v7. So who knows what that'll look like, because the West is still very tight. I mean, you've got the Thunder, obviously the 1 seed, and then 2 through 7, there's still only 4.5 games. And 2 through 5, there's only 1.5 games. This is just really disappointing, because you were knocking on the door, literally knocking on the door of the Nuggets, and even the Grizzlies lost to the Kings today. You're knocking on their door if you win this game, and instead you inexplicably lose. I don't get it. Horrific. Anyway, I'm going to finish it up there. I don't know. Don't want to be any more negative about it. Negative episode, that's for sure, but it has to be after that awful performance. Just horrid. Not much more else to say about it. Thank you to those guys that have tuned in, and those of you that have vented your frustration and disappointment. We go through the ups and downs together, that is for sure. Let's hope the Warriors can bounce back tomorrow against the Bucks. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel already, that would be greatly appreciated. Follow me at POC252. That's POK252 on X/Twitter. I'll be back for a post-game live after the game tomorrow in 24 hours' time. Look, I'm not confident. Steph likely to be resting, so we'll wait and see. Maybe Jimmy, JK can lead the guys. Bucks probably looking to respond after a pretty bad loss to the Thunder yesterday, which isn't great, because we just saw what Denver did. Even without their guys, they responded to a horrific loss against the Wizards the other day with Jordan Poole's big 3-pointer. Maybe the Warriors. This is the kick in the backside they need to kind of spring back into action here after this woeful defeat. Hope to see you then, guys. Otherwise, enjoy the next 24 hours, whatever it may have in store for you.